Thank you all for joining us. I know a few of you are still logging on. Michelle and I are super excited to host this one today. My name is Darren Deese. I am a benefit auctioneer with Eventology Fundraising. My co-author, Michelle Gilmore, is on with us. She's been amazing. It's a fun journey, and we're so excited you're going to join us today. Michelle?
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm admitting people in the waiting room as we're speaking. So if you just joined us, welcome. We're glad you're here. This is our fifth workshop on a Friday, a little roundtable discussion. And I am the Senior Development Director at the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. That's my day job, and co-author for Eventology, the Science Behind Fundraising.
I was supposed to say that and I forgot, Michelle. I apologize. That was in my notes.
You're doing well. That's all right. It's all good. And so we've hosted a few of these, and today's actually is probably my personal favorite because we just found out yesterday at my chapter that we are going to have to convert my 500-person chef tasting event in the fall to virtual. So I'm kind of like, oh, here we go, right? So Darren, what are we looking at today?
Well, today, as all as you kind of know, you signed up and our registrations were high on the topic. Today is a true behind the scenes, what it takes to put on a virtual event. The cool part about it is, as a fundraising benefit auctioneer, I get to talk to auctioneers all across the country. And I've reached out to a few of my friends that have done events, done and hosted events, and they've sent some pictures, they've sent some video clips. And I'm going to have the opportunity, if I can figure out how to do this, I'm going to have the opportunity to share my screen and share with you some clips from some of my friends.
So before you jump into that, a couple of housekeeping things. So wait, can you stop sharing for just 1 second?
Yes, sorry. I can. I just figured out how to.
You're good. You're good. Yeah. So if you are just joining Zoom for the first time, we have a couple of places that I just wanted to point out. So one is that you can see the speaker view, or you can change it to gallery up in the right-hand corner. So if you have gallery on right now and you have a lot of icons and you just want to focus in on the speakers, you just change it to speaker view. And then along the bottom, you'll see something that says chat. And so I'm encouraging you now, as questions pop up, to go ahead and type them in the chat, because we're gonna have a time at the end to do some Q&A, and we're going to likely pull the questions from the chat and then we'll address them. And as of now, you'll all be on mute, and then at the end we'll unmute you if we want to get you to ask your question in person. Does that sound all right? So I'm still admitting a few people in, Darren, and let's wait just a second here. In the meantime, I'm going to launch a little fun poll. And this is going to be for everyone. The poll is about if you've had a live fundraising event yet. So I'm launching that now. And Darren, while they're filling it out, you want to talk about the hot seat a little bit?
Yeah, the opportunity to hot seat. So we're gonna we'll put that in the chat bar. But at the end of the call, we're gonna pick somebody to join Michelle and I on a true Facebook Live hot seat conversation. You get I think it's about a 20-minute window we do, and you get to ask us any questions live. We're both going to answer, but we're going to share everything live. So everybody on the call, you'll all be invited to the Facebook Live if you've joined us on our Facebook Eventology Fundraising Continue the Conversation. If you've joined us on that, you'll get the invitation to join the hot seat conversation. Last time we did it, we had a great call, and hopefully some of you were on the call to join us on that. It was a lot of fun. Michelle, the results in?
The results are in, and here we go, sharing. Sorry, I have other people I was letting in. There we go, boom. Ooh, it's an even split. So
wow, I like that. No, yeah. I'm too terrified by the idea. Well, we're going to hope to ease the pain on that one.
I love it. So 38% of you have survived your first or maybe second live fundraising event. Maybe you're a pro and you've been doing them for a while. I see 35% of you are terrified by the idea. I hear you. And then you've scheduled one for the next 30 to 60 days. That's exciting stuff. So we'll kind of address those three groups as we go through. It's good to know.
Yeah, that top 38% that you've done it, start thinking about things, because we may jump in and ask you some questions randomly. We don't have your names, but we're going to ask you to raise your hand later and join us for some conversation.
Awesome.
So with that, Michelle, should we jump right in?
I think so. Let's get started.
All right, let's try to get this started here. So hopefully you guys can see my screen. It's a little bit larger on your screen as well. I'm trying to manage with like 75 boxes and this, so I apologize as we go through it. But we're going to jump right in. Like I said, I mentioned I was able to reach out to a couple of my friends across the board, and we're going to start with my buddy Scott. He's out of Florida, and he's just kind of sharing a little bit, and then I'll do that, and then we'll talk about it here.
All right, Sarah. So,
oh, see, technical issues all the time. That's on me.
all right, Sarah. So, I am here. We're not live. But anyway, we're at a Harmon AV storage unit. But wait a minute. Look what these guys have come up with. They've got an entire tech table right here. They've got wires going places that, gosh, I hope they know where the hell they're going. Not sure. There's Chris. Say hello to Sarah. Hi, Sarah. All right. And then from the house looks like this. All right. So we've got confidence monitors. We've got cameras. We've got a place for whoever's going to be running the mobile bidding platform. We've got time. And this big screen in the back is a 12 by 20 LED wall that they can put anything in the world on. And then we've got a marker right here. So what you're looking at, it's PJ. And then we've got a double confidence monitor over here. I realize it's a little white, but it shows all the, it shows the chat and the amount that's coming in. So a whole lot to it. Hope it's helpful. Bye.
Okay, so Darren, walk us through that a little bit. It was a little hard to hear, but
Okay.
he was giving us the tour. Speaking of hard to hear, now I have a jet. This is the live event.
So yeah, apologize on that one. It was hard to hear. But Scott was just walking us through a warehouse, a company that had a warehouse, and they had all the audio video equipment there and set up a mobile stage. So a lot of us can't use our venues. And there's a lot of companies nationwide. And today we're joined by Velocity AV. We've got both Jeremy Purser and Michael Montenegro with Velocity, and they're going to kind of answer some of the questions that speak to what you just saw from Scott on all the equipment that they have to provide the technology to do a virtual event. It may be in your house, it may be in a warehouse, it may be at your school, it may be at your nonprofit. You can choose, but a huge win is using a warehouse or a production facility that has all the equipment there and ask them to set everything up. You'll save a lot of money on travel time.
Awesome.
But you don't have to go to that. There's some other options, right, Michelle?
That's right. I was going to say, let's look at that next one. I think this one's really fun to see.
Well, here we are going live. Macro Productions. Oh, it looks good. We're going to go live here at 7:30. Don't miss out. Your chance to watch the third virtual gala out of Nashville, Tennessee. We got the best team working with us tonight, Macro Productions. It's only first class. Back to the Future, Miriam's Promise.
So that was Jay Cash. He's out of Nashville, and he just kind of shared that. That's a really small clip, but we've got one more, and I want you to pay special attention to it because Michelle's going to ask you if you notice something after this next clip.
So proud to be here once again with Miriam's Promise here in Nashville, Tennessee. CharityAuction.HighBid/Miriam's Promise is the only thing you need. Download that app. That will give you the ability to give tonight. And there are many, many reasons that you want to give to this organization. But we're going to show you a video right now. We are going to show you something that's going to impact you. And this is last year's impact video. And here is the encore presentation of Baby Monday.
Awesome. Darren, can you go back to that? Yes, that's perfect. Just right there. So what we noticed when we were watching these videos in preparation of today, I really liked what's on the screen right here. And what they're doing is they're showing their attendees how to turn up the volume. And then right after this, Darren, can you fast forward it a touch?
This is going to be tricky, but yes, I'm going to try.
Okay, no worries.
So proud to be here once again with Miriam's Promise here in Nashville.
So there's how to view everything in full screen. They're just kind of walking people through some of those pieces. Yes.
Right, and exactly. And what you see here is the studio perspective, and what obviously the viewers are only seeing that screen, maybe the backdrop, a little of the lighting. I like that how he uses the uplighting here, and then this is one of your friends, Darren, right? Can you have him, or actually you tell us what he said about how this event went?
Well, this is a buddy of mine, Jay Cash, out of Nashville, Tennessee, and he's been with this client quite a while in doing their live events, and they did a virtual event and actually raised more money this year than they had in prior years. They threw it together, and they definitely spent a little bit of money on technology. You can see that, but it doesn't always have to be that way. There are other options, and we're going to show you some of those. We've got one more to show you from a good friend of mine up in Sacramento, who I believe is joining us on the call. So Freddie, if you're there, we're going to go ahead and play some clips with you. Is that all right? We good to go, Michelle?
I think so. All right,
so let's jump in and see what Freddie's got.
Love it.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A huge virtual round of applause. We're here.
Yes, we've got to keep our distance, right?
Because of you and the support you provide tonight, we will be empowered to continue making schools and communities safe, inclusive environments for everyone. Thank you
so much. Yeah, 2,500? George! Thank you very much, George. We appreciate it, George. Feel free to give at any point tonight if you'd like. Thank you so much, folks. We see a bunch coming in here. Margaret and Amy Triplet, thank you. At the Roseville Chamber, thank you. Patricia Rosenbaum, thank you. Peggy! Thank you very much, Peggy. Thank you, Peggy. $1,000 from Kim Silvers. Thank you very much, Kim. At $250 if you're thinking that's your gift. Yes! 500, Christine Maseko. Thank you, Christine. Folks, we can go up, we can go down, we can go all around. Folks, we're making a huge difference here. At $100, we can make a huge, huge difference together, folks. I see you in the chat bar. John Kennedy, once a board member, always a board member. Thank you very much, John. Yes, Rachel Zillner. Thank you very much, Rachel. Huge community advocate. Yes, Kelly, we got more. 2 more, 3 more, 4. Yes, 5, 6.
All right, let's go to item number 2. And this sounds incredible. This is a vacation, 6 nights and 7 days in beautiful San Juan Islands in Washington.
How about Kim Nash? We'll go Kim's back and forth. Kim Silver's at 11. Kim Nash, we're back at 12. I'm looking for 1,200 Kim. I'm looking for 12 Kim. Here we go, Kim. John. Yes! Was it from Kim? John's coming back in, folks. I'm looking for you, Kim. Kim Silvers. Here we go. Gonna sell it in 3. Woo! Who's back? Kim Nash is back. Yes! We got Kim Nash. Now, Joe item is now closed. Thank you very much for all your bidding, folks. Wow.
Can you believe that? That was like being in a real.
It felt real.
Like a real fundraising auction.
Wow.
We are. Hey, you know what? I got the virtual high five thing. I gotta like go like this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, folks. We appreciate you.
Have a wonderful night, and thank you, A Touch of Understanding, for making such a big difference in our community.
All right, Darren, let's see that from behind the scenes. Do you have something that shows a little clip of that?
I do, and for some reason it's not letting me forward right now.
Don't worry.
No, just time out here. I'm gonna have to back up out of here.
Okay.
So peaceful, but wow, what energy! You want an auctioneer with a lot of energy? Go, Freddie.
Yeah, and you know what?
I don't know how you keep that tempo.
Yeah, and everybody, what you saw there was he was doing a live auction for some events, for items. He was doing the paddle raise section, and what there's something I like, and that's something that I don't love about that format. I think that the technology that they were using was great because you could see the bidders. You could see the names of the donations as they came in, like John Smith for $1,000. And I absolutely love that. If you're gonna host a live virtual event at all, you need to have a leaderboard and a thermometer. So we'll talk a little bit more about that too. But it also, I wished Freddie was a little bigger on that screen, you know? It was cool like that. You could see him and all that at the same time, but I sure would have loved to have his face and his energy be half of the screen, and then maybe the rest be the leaderboard, because some of the other stuff was a little lost in my opinion. All right, there you go.
All right, so we're back up. So now we're going to show you behind the scenes from Freddie, if we can get this to play here.
Okay.
Hello, hello. Hello. Good evening. Hey, everybody. Hey.
We're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A huge virtual round of applause. We're here.
Yeah, still got to keep our distance a little bit, right?
Thank you so much for joining us, folks. Thank you, Amy. And if everybody wants to do me a favor now, if you want to just show Amy some love in the chat bar, thank you so much for sharing that impact that ATOU has had on your life. George! Thank you very much, George! We appreciate it, George! Yes!
Stop everything. We got $1,000 from Kim Silvers.
$1,000 from Kim Silvers! Thank you very much, Kim! Folks, this is huge. If there's anybody else that wants to come in at $250, we're making a big difference, folks. At $250, yes! We did! We got more, folks. I'm over 800. I got some here now, 8. Looks like we're live at home. I got some in here on this couch. I'm looking for 8 on that couch. I'm looking for 8 over on this couch. Yes! Was it from Kim?
John.
John's coming back in, folks. John's in. Thank you very much, John. Woo! Who's back?
Kim Nash.
Kim Nash is back. Yes! We got Kim Nash. Now, John, back to you, John.
John's back.
John's back. We got John. John's back. Now, Kim, thank you very much for all your bidding, folks. Wow.
Can you believe that? That was like being at a real,
It felt real.
like a real fundraising auction. In
Wow.
PR. Hey, you know what? The virtual high five thing, I would like go like this. Give you all so much.
Thank you very much, folks. We appreciate you.
Have a wonderful night, and thank you, A Touch of Understanding, for making such a big difference in our community. Have a great night.
That's so great.
That was awesome. Freddie, I don't know, are you you online? Can you unmute yourself if you're on us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here, Darren.
I don't know how you keep that energy level up, my friend, but go you.
Thanks, man.
Go ahead, Michelle.
No, I was just going to say, that was awesome, Freddie. I love how you put that video together. It really helps our audience today get a real view of what that looks like, which is really hard for some of us to conceptualize. So it's so great that you're on. So thanks for joining us.
Freddie, is there any take backs or anything you want to just kind of add to that real quick while I'm trying to get this thing to play again? I apologize.
Yeah, so I think what you could see is kind of behind the scenes what it looked like. What we learned, that was the very first virtual auction we did, and you could tell that I couldn't see the bids right away. And so Kelly, who was behind the scenes, was letting me know the bids. What we learned from that was that we needed to be on Google Chrome for things to instantly upload for me to see on my screen.
Okay.
We were on Safari, and it wasn't refreshing automatically. And so we changed to Google Chrome and did a second virtual auction last week, and it was instant. So that was a huge learning curve for us. And yeah, I appreciate the insights on what you guys liked and opportunities for growth. That's good stuff. Appreciate it.
Freddie, you're doing great things up there. Thank you.
And Freddie, while we have you on, I actually have a question in the chat for you. It said, who was his audience, clients / donors, and how did they plan? How did you guys plan for that?
Yeah, so our donors are a much older crowd. It was kind of their...
now, is that much older than you or much older than the rest of us on this screen? Because you're like 18, I think, maybe 28. I'm not sure.
They're older than you, Darren.
Oh, thanks,
Freddie. Oh, that's really old.
Ouch.
No, They're much older folks. I'd say somewhere between
Be
the
careful,
average
careful,
average
careful.
average age was 50 plus. 50
Okay.
plus.
You're killing me, friend. You're killing me.
So anyways, no, they were great. You know, it's a lot of work ahead of time to make sure your donors feel comfortable with bidding and registration. We've made some how to register, how to bid videos. We had, you noticed on the bottom screen banner, and I take this all from Scott Robertson, auctioneer in Florida. We had support lines on the bottom the whole time for people to call or text in if they needed technical support with anything. And that was huge. And we wanted to do whatever we could do to make sure the donor felt comfortable with this, because for most people, this was their first time event.
Awesome.
Well, Freddie, again, thank you so much for letting me share your video. Your energy is infectious, and I feel bad because I can't jump and spin like that. I'd pass out. But thank you. Thank you for letting us share that, Freddie. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Darren.
Thanks, Freddie.
So, go ahead, Michelle.
No, I was just going to say, that the same thing, that I really liked that you had the phone number on there, and we have another sample of that. Remember, for everyone who's even planning a live fundraising event sometime soon, is we're still charged with having the donation process as easy as possible. So some people, especially your older, donors and viewers, are gonna just wanna call and tell you, I'm gonna give you $1,000 and I'll put a check in the mail on Monday. So you gotta give them that option. You have to give them an option to donate by text, online. You might have to send a little postcard in advance and say, you can donate to our live show in advance for 30 days. Here's the simple link. So really make it simple.
All right, so I want to show you how simple is.
All right, I love simple.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of share a screen here. I'm going to try to anyway. And get back in this and this one here. So this next one is a, oh, here we go. This is my friend Nelson J. He's obviously overdressed for it, but only from the waist up because it was virtual. He's got 2 laptop computers there and a camera. And then he's doing another version of the same thing. This is obviously probably from his living room. It doesn't have to, you don't have to have that entire tech team. He is so confident with his technology and skills, he can manage all of that. I can't manage this meeting with all of these notes and get it right, but Nelson J is on top of it there with his iPhone, his microphone. He's got lights, his sound quality is great, but just kind of some fun versions of what he's doing from home. It doesn't always have to be from a studio. And Michelle, I believe we've got, I know Jeremy, I think I saw you locked in, and you've also got Michael Montenegro with you from Velocity.
Okay, Jeremy
correct.
and Michael, if you could unmute yourselves, because I think I have you muted, guys. There we go.
Yep.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, thanks for
Hi,
being
everybody.
here.
So guys, if you would, Jeremy, tell us a little bit about the complexity of hosting an event, whether it's in a studio, if it's in your office, in your building, or if you've got to take all your gear to a nonprofit of their choice or a school, or maybe a nonprofit that's just so scared they don't want to spend the money yet, and they think maybe they want to do it from home. Is that possible? Can they do it with just an iPhone?
It is possible, yes. The issue that you're going to run up against is your infrastructure and your internet that you have. That's really the most important part of all this. Michael, go ahead and chime in here.
Yeah, absolutely. What Jeremy's talking about is, a lot of our residential internet is not made to produce on a large scale. Some of the things that we've gone into on producing larger events is having the infrastructure capable of broadcasting live and consuming all that data coming back down simultaneously. But in its most basic instance, it is capable. It is possible to do it. People are doing it on a daily basis. You have to be smart and think about how you're going to run a show out. You really have to sit down and do some work on paper to figure out the entire flow of your event. Once you do that, you'll really be able to see exactly what pieces you need, how many slides you're going to have to create, all of those things, all of your creative elements, how are you going to interact with your viewers and attendees, all of that stuff starts to come into play. We call that a show flow. And we could send out a sample of that if you need us to.
Awesome. That would be great. Yeah. And one thing that you bring up is really important, because something that we're struggling with just figuring out in terms of dynamics is that I'm going to want to have, Darren on our screen doing a live bid for a cure, which is what we call rat paddle raise, right? And then I'm going to want to push it over to an impact video. And then I might want to go to a PowerPoint slide that I have that somebody sent in with these great photos. So can you give us just like the layman's terms a little bit of what does that take to do? How do we do that?
Sure, absolutely. The short answer is there's a ton of different ways to do that. I saw Darren in one of the videos, you correct me if I'm wrong, you guys were utilizing a software called OBS in your first few sessions to switch out your stream live. One of the great things with a switcher like that, it allows you to compile a lot of those elements queue to queue ahead of time to speed that up. What it takes is the ability to map out where you want to go on paper, so you can pre-build a lot of those preset queues, whether you're using it all in PowerPoint and building your queues that way, or you're using a virtual software that allows you to switch up to the stream.
Michael, on the switching, what's your opinion of it? I probably have my own as well, but how much of an event like that should be considered to pre-record, so you can really kind of map out your event, like the opening welcome, the message from executive directors, maybe some message from sponsors that have offered? Is there a big advantage to pre-recording, or should everything be live?
100%. Pre-recording is your best friend in a virtual event.
Absolutely.
You want to try to keep your live elements to your hosts and MCs. If you're gonna try to bring in live panelists or multiple guests live, you're really asking a lot of your team. One of our colleagues in the industry had a webinar the other day, and one of the things that he stated is that if you're expecting everything to be perfect every single time, and on every queue and every app that you try to ingest and switch back out, you're going to be severely disappointed. Pre-recording is your best friend. All of your offerings or items that you're going to put up to bid that you want to demonstrate or show off, pre-record it. Because there are some switchers that you can just line up those video queues and just hit go, 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 go. And now you get a chance to drink a glass of water, take a deep breath while the video is rolling, and come back to your MC.
Yeah.
So on that, Michael, I just kind of want to hit, because it's real time. This is a 1 hour real time thing. I've preloaded all of the videos that I was going to share with you. Michelle and I went through those yesterday. We went through those this morning. Today, for some reason, it's the first time that it kind of froze after a slide, and I couldn't forward and I couldn't advance.
Right. Are you running off the same machine?
No, I'm not. I've just got a on here, because I'm not in a studio. I'm just running. I put it all in PowerPoint, and I'm kind of running everything out of PowerPoint. But for some reason, those froze up. But to your point of having the live, Michelle and I and you guys, we can fill those gaps when you're doing your event, to have somebody live that can jump on and kind of stretch when you need to stretch. Fill time when bids are slow. A friend of mine did an event on Zoom last night, and their software that they chose kind of froze up on them. And she had like almost 8 minutes to fill, where she was literally just dancing with the DJ. It was challenging. It does make it hard. So pre-recording those pieces is huge. So thank you.
One aspect I didn't touch on, Darren, was it's not just the pre-recorded content or the content you want to showcase. It's somebody you're talking to. You're going to be at the mercy of their internet bandwidth as well too. So
great standpoint. Yeah, you're right.
You could experience somebody's camera going in and out, their audio going in and out. What do you do at that point? At that point, we usually just cut bait and move on to the next session and work on getting them back.
And in fact, Jeremy, when we were talking earlier, you mentioned that was on a call, like you had a call about that today. Do you want to share that? I thought that was interesting.
In terms of the
Wi-Fi connection, like how important that is, and you were.
Oh, right.
You had
So we had we were testing a platform today, and one of the issues that came up was once we were involved in going live, we started getting some choppiness on the stream from one of our attendees, and we realized that it was a wireless internet issue. Wireless internet fluctuates. You may have 50 megabits or 100 megabits coming into your home, but it's not a constant when you're ingesting that wirelessly. So if you have the capability to go hardwired from your laptop or your computer into your modem, that's preferred, because that's a constant stream, and you're not going to get that issue. But going back to what Michael was saying about this is, when you look at the complexity of a live event, you kind of have to mirror that with what we're doing virtually as well. So all these things that come up in a live event, show flow, cues going with presenting slides and switching the slides, all those things, you really have to think to yourself, is that something I can do? Or myself and my team, is that something that we can pull off virtually? Or do we need to get someone else involved to help us? So that's really the big question you have to ask yourself. And aside from the fancy studios and the green screens and kind of teleporting yourself wherever you want to be, that's a really big question, is can I do this on my own? And if I can't, what are the resources that I should have to make this work?
Awesome.
So
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, and we'll talk a little bit more about how to contact you specifically at the end. But I do want to move on. Darren, is there something else you want to ask of these gents, or are we ready to show the next one?
Yeah, let's show two more, and then let's kind of open it up for some questions and answers.
Yeah, we have a vibrant chat going. I love it.
Oh, good. I haven't even got there yet, so I'm glad.
If you haven't yet put your questions in the chat, go ahead and add them now. You're all on mute. If you just joined us, I saw a few latecomers. We are going to answer questions, but go ahead and add them to the chat, and then we'll unmute you at the end to ask them live.
All right, these are just the last two of one of my favorite people.
Oh, hold on a second. We're not ready for this.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm sharing mine first. See, you went off script. This is
darn. Live stuff, and you go off script. I could have sworn
doing so well. You were doing so well. Yeah. I'm actually going to share, speaking of that guy, I'm going to share a Facebook Live video. They did their event. It's called Oak Grove Center. They hosted their event a couple weeks ago. Darren was their MC and auctioneer. And then they have since they posted it on their Facebook page, which I'll share that link in the chat in a minute. But I want to go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see what it looks like when you're watching it live on Facebook. So here we go. So hopefully, all right, now.
See,
Darren,
now
can
you see my
screen?
problems. Now you see my challenges.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Nope.
Not yet, okay. Share, there you go. How about now?
Yep.
All right, so here we go.
Hi everyone, my name is Craig Davis with Davis Family Insurance Agents. My wife Kathy and I have proudly served the Temecula Valley for 30 years. We are also extremely proud to support the Oak Grove Center. I met Tammy Wilson through our Rotary Club over 7 years ago, and I was so impressed with her dedication to her staff, and more importantly, the kids at Oak Grove. I have personally had the pleasure of working with a few of the Oak Grove students through our Rotary Interact program and RILA, the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards Camp. We will continue to help as long as we're needed. Thank you.
So I wanted to share that chunk, and I'm going to keep the screen like this because I'm going to fast forward in a minute. But a lot of you have been asking, how are we going to acknowledge our sponsors in a new way on a virtual event? And that is a good example. So that's a Farmers Insurance agent, right, Darren?
Yep, he was with Farmers Insurance, and we played this whole clip. You see the time on the top, 10:58. That's a countdown clock as we're getting ready to go live. So we started this just like our Zoom meeting today. There were several of you that chimed in almost 8 to 10 minutes early. So we played those over and over again. We did all of our sponsor opportunities there. We have that 15-minute window. We played a couple of videos, but then we played them again at the end. And we used some of those clips, like with Craig Davis. We can use some of those as fillers when things go wrong during the live event. If you can throw in a message from a sponsor and do a shout out and a thank you to somebody, it's a huge filler when you have a production team behind you that can instantly make that switch and connection, and they fill it in like it was supposed to be there, even when it was not in the game plan. There's always plan B, C, D, and F. Are huge, and when you have a production team behind you, it's a lot easier to do that, because try doing that by yourself is really difficult. So you see kind of the countdown clock. She's getting down to 35 seconds, and then we kind of go right into live.
Yeah, so let's get right there, and I'm gonna try to launch it here. All right.
That's 19 seconds of music and whatnot. Again, this is just kind of our countdown as we're getting ready to go live. You see that. I believe we said we were going to go live at noon. By the time we went live, it may have been 12:05. Somebody actually tripped over one of our cords and our live stream went down and had to fix it within seconds. So here we go.
Welcome back. Again, thank you again for tuning in, logging in, getting online. We love all the comments we're seeing on our YouTube channel, our Facebook channel. Don't forget to share with your friends. So before we go too far into the program, I need to bring out the one person since 1991 has been doing an amazing job at Oak Grove. Tammy Wilson.
Thanks, Darren.
So let's stop that one.
I'm good. I guess I can take.
Okay.
We definitely, we had her walk out with her mask. When we started the show, I think we both had our mask on just to kind of give people a little bit of an understanding. Yet we're trying to be as virtually compliant as we can be. It definitely didn't go unnoticed by any means. Michelle, you have any more comments on those?
I do, just on the sidebar, because I watched this live on Facebook, and what I really liked is that all of the friends and families and even some of the donors shared in the live chat on the Facebook post. So you can go back and actually see that. And there's another piece that I'm not seeing right here. Let me see if I can shrink this. It shows how many views it had. And I think when we were watching it live, it had about 55 people watching it. And by the next day at noon, there were over 1,500 views. So don't be discouraged if when you're going live, you have a small audience, because people can watch it later and they still might make donations the next day, the following day, even 3 days. Right,
yeah,
Darren?
we left this event open. This was on, I think, on May 1st, and we left it open till May 8th with an online auction and an opportunity to give. Like Freddie mentioned, and Scott's kind of started it, and Jay, and a lot of the auctioneers across the United States are doing the same thing. Add that phone number. Give somebody an opportunity to call you when they can't figure out how to use the chat bar. Last night, a real good friend of mine did the whole thing on a Zoom platform, and everything was in the chat bar. They had a huge challenge last night with their software. It froze up. So they had to revert to the chat bar just to communicate with people, because their online bidding platform, which was separate than their broadcasting platform, everything froze up. Like Michael said, if it can happen, it will. Tammy's event that you just saw, great event. We had a lot of fun. Like she said, only 50 people there, but remember, 50 people online would almost be the equivalent to 100 people at your gala. So just because the numbers are low, it doesn't mean that people aren't there and they aren't going to share.
Right.
And then there's a whole unfortunate thing that happened after that. School caught on fire. Fire trucks arrived. Internet went out. Power went out. Things will go wrong. So just prepare for that. You can't plan for a fire from Edison Company working on your power lines outside your building. Those things just unfortunately happen.
That's right. I think you have 2 more clips of this same event, and tell everybody that how it was broadcast. Can you talk about that? That there were a few different ways that you guys broadcasted this event.
We did. We worked with Morningstar Productions. You're going to hear some shout outs to them right now, but they were able to broadcast everything at the same time on Facebook Live and also YouTube. There are a lot of other options. I mean, you can use Zoom, you can use your own website. You heard Michael and Jeremy talk a little bit about some of the challenges that can come with that. A lot of it has to do with how fast the network that you're using could jump in. And Jeremy, you mentioned earlier something in our phone call. I'd love to hear you get your take on it real quick. But you said the difference between the Wi-Fi and actually plugging in. Can you hit on that real quick before I play this clip?
Sure. The Wi-Fi can, even though it, you know, when you do your speed checks on your phone or on your computer, it might say that you have, let's say, 50 megabits of download speed or 30 megabits of upload speed. Over Wi-Fi, that's going to fluctuate because it's radio frequency. So if you're hardlined in to your modem or your internet provider gear, you're actually going to eliminate at least that aspect of that. So it's a much more stable connection if you're hardlined in. So that's one thing that we would definitely suggest for sure.
All right, and we're going to come back to you with more questions. We're going to play these two quick clips because we've only got 20 minutes left. And Michelle, we haven't talked about the hot seat much other than our first introduction on that. So
Yeah.
I want to jump into that one.
Definitely.
All right, here we go with this clown.
It's not in my notes, but we are in a studio right now at Morningstar Productions. They've set everything about. Everybody's got face masks, but there is a huge team behind us. Alan, Jay, Brian, Jeff, and I've got Zach over here. He's our DJ. There's Judy. It's not in my notes. Jeff, and I've got Zach over here. He's our DJ. There's Judy. There's Michelle. There's Tammy. Tammy was here. This is a huge undertaking, and thank you all very much for participating. Morningstar, we couldn't have done this without you, so Alan, thank you very much.
So you saw, I cut that off at the end, but you just kind of get to see the idea of we were in not necessarily a studio. We were broadcasting that one in a warehouse that was, he built a custom stage for us. We've hosted a few events there, and we've got more coming. The cool part about that is I think you can find that industry partner, that relationship that you have in pretty much every major city across the United States. Those companies are there and they would love to kind of host you. And having that whole team to get your videos right, upload your videos, download, just to help you put everything together. You heard Jeremy and Michael talking about the different switches it takes to run multiple cameras. That event that we did for Oak Grove, we had 3 cameras. Now, the cool part about the cameras that we had is all 3 of the cameras were robotic. So there's just one person running 3 cameras, so we didn't have that many people. We wanted to kind of maintain the rules in our county was, groups of, we can't even have groups of 10, but I think we had 8 or 9 of us in that building. We tried to separate as much as we could. We may or may not have broken some close rules, but we definitely, other than myself, when I was speaking, everybody had face masks on, and we did comply. And that makes it a little challenging as well.
Awesome.
So Michelle, I think we're done on our video clips. I would love to kind of throw out the question. I think there was 38% of us that had done events. So if you're somebody who has done a live virtual event, other than Freddie, because your turn's over right now, Freddie, but we may come back to you. I'd love to kind of hear your, yes, it was amazing, or, oh my gosh, we've totally forgot we shouldn't do this on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so if you do want to share, go ahead and put in the chat, say, I'd like to share, and then we're going to go ahead and we'll unmute you so that you can do that. The other thing I want to talk about, Darren, is that, we're showing in-studio samples, but there are people who are hosting virtual events just through their computer, just through Zoom, showing a few impact videos, having someone like a Darren, or maybe the executive director doing a nice little, plea and a please donate here. So that's a possibility as well. You don't have to have the big live stream situation. You could pre-record a lot of it, same thing. But that is another type of a virtual event to consider. You know what, Darren, I've seen a couple questions, and I actually have a question. How is the fundraising going from what you've heard from your colleagues? So while we have a few people who are ready to, jump in and join us in chatting here in a minute, what have you been hearing? Because it's all about the numbers, right?
It is about the numbers. And my friend Nelson J, that was doing it from his laptops, 2 laptops in his living room. He had hosted that event in years prior in a real room with Gala, with people and everything about it. And the energy is everything. You know, we lose a lot of that energy when we're just talking into a camera and trying to commute like we're doing with this Zoom meeting. But from a philanthropy side of things, his event was actually higher this year than it had been in years past. With Scott Robertson out of Florida, they raised more money their first virtual event than they did at the event last year. Some of the live auction items weren't as high in what they attained over years prior, but it was the amount of giving from individual gifts, whether they're $5,000 gifts, $1,000 gifts, or $40 gifts. People still support. I mean, if you're a cancer society, if you're a senior center, if you're a school. I watched an event last night from a private school back in St. Louis, and you know their goal I think was 80, or it was 100,000. You know, they did $83,000 last night, a little short of their goal, but they're still going to have another week and a half on some online auctions that will continue to go and potentially get over above their goal. So not everything hits the goal. Some people want to lower them, but philanthropy is there. Give people the opportunity to say no. Don't just assume that your biggest donor is totally affected by this and they won't support you. If they've loved you before, they're still going to love you even after COVID. It's okay to ask. In my opinion, I think it's okay to ask and let them make the decision. It's not a mandatory by anything, but it is an opportunity.
I love it. Okay, so I have some questions coming in. I haven't had any brave people say that they want to tell us about their event, but I have some great questions for our tech experts and for you and I. So let's just jump in on those and then we'll see how we go.
All right.
So Jordan has a question, Jordan McCandless. She says, for awards-focused events, what's the best way to carry out the award presentations virtually?
So the studio that I'm working in with Morningstar and I think Velocity, you guys mentioned you're doing the same thing. They're doing virtual graduations, virtual awards. It's really easy to do, but again, a lot of that is pre-recorded. Our event for Oak Grove that we did, we gave an award to one of the students. You know, we did that 4 days before the event. Executive director came in, student came in, they got the award. She was surprised. She had no idea she was getting it. You know, we failed on the confetti cannons and all the celebration. We just didn't quite plan because we didn't know it was going to happen right when it happened, and you can't redo that moment. So, you know, we'll think better about those things going forward, but it can be done. And on the award side of thing, I think a lot of pre-recording, and again, it doesn't have to be in a studio. The power of your iPhone done correctly. If you're taking videos this way, you know, turn your camera this way and take the pictures and do the videos. The production studios, they can take that footage and make it look like, you know, we just, you know, calling in from Florida, you know, we've done this. There's so much opportunity there. The technology is there. You know, I urge you not to be afraid of it, but embrace it. It can happen, and it's not as hard as it looks.
And this one might be great for Michael. That's good feedback, and I agree with you. What I liked about that when Darren did that award presentation is they wore the same thing, so you would never know. It looked like a seamless transition. So
yeah, I wore that suit for 3 days in a row.
So the next question says, we do live and silent auctions, which is our major way to get donations. This is from Haley Beckett. And she says, how can we incorporate this? So Michael, can you guys talk about something you've seen where you're bringing in a technology that might do a silent auction? Like how would you suggest people do that?
Right. So that's a great question. So there's tons of third-party apps out there that you could do for the silent side of things, where you know you're keeping a lot of the bids private, and you can ingest those and do them visually over like a sliding bar on the bottom, as a lower third. So there's, you know, I want to say like you could do something kind of like a poll everywhere, where you could take the data that's there. Instead of using it as a poll, you can use it as just data that you need to get people to ingest, to entertain that interaction. One of the cool things about that is that you could, you know, vote on something with your phone as a text message, so that you don't have to go to a special website or do anything like that. So.
Yeah, and actually that goes to the next question, which is from Delegate Stu Reynolds Buckley. And she says, I hope you'll share some of the specific auction software that's been successful. So what I've used before, and I know Darren has a list of a few, and guys, you jump in on this too. I really like Mobile Cause. I really like Give Smart, which used to be Gesture. They have a great platform for online auctions. We use Blackbaud has a solution. I think that's part of their back end. So Darren, what are a couple more that you've seen?
Greater Giving has a really good solution, and I think all of the companies, virtual events are new to the fundraising world, and I think some of the software companies that really weren't there yet on that whole virtual piece. I mean, the silent or the online is technically virtual, so they've been doing it for that way, but they're all really kind of jumping on board and adding new technology in ways to make it easier. So don't think you have to jump from one to another. If you've got one that you're working for, give them a call and see where they're at in the process. They're probably doing something that's going to make it easy. That way you don't have to switch that too. You're already changing your mind on some of the other things.
Neon One has a solution called Rally Bound, and that reminds me of that one. And also I think One Cause is out there. What are you going to say, Michael?
Yeah, so, for some of those people who are out there budget conscious or trying to keep things simple, don't forget about eBay. I mean, you can list all of your items there, and you can share the links on your feed, and people can go there and you can bid, and you can, if you don't need or require any hardcore analytics or any hardcore visuals out of it, that's one simple way to do it, and it's just a laptop, and you can adjust it via your switcher.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I saw that yesterday eBay was hosting a fundraising auction, and I thought, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. That's awesome.
That's the first time I've heard of eBay, but again, I'm thrilled that you shared it, because that's kind of what this is about. I mean, not just about what we know, it's kind of using everybody's resources.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
and
go ahead.
If I can jump in, one thing that you're going to notice, just like the virtual platforms that we're using, is there's not going to be necessarily one solution that's going to cover all your needs. So there might be a certain software that works for this auction or fundraiser, but it's not going to work for the next one. So you really have to do your research and figure out what is going to work for you for that specific fundraiser. And that's what we're running into in the virtual world, because it is pretty new and everyone's kind of grasping onto it. We're still waiting for a lot of those golden gem type solutions to all these problems that we're running up against.
So one of the things we like to tell our clients with respect to the virtual events scenarios that are happening right now is that there's all of you who are out there who are used to designing events and putting on events. Take trust and solace in the fact that you know how to design and produce an event. Fall back on your knowledge to that, because to put on a virtual event and the knowledge and the know-how you need to do that has not changed. You're still asking yourself the same questions. Why are you doing your event? What do you have to get done? And what are your distinct precise goals that are must-have for you? Work your way backwards from there, and all the software stuff, all of those things, if you bring in a tech resource to help you decide those things, they're going to work themselves out.
That's awesome. I love
well
that.
Said. You get 13 points for that one, Michael. That was
for sure. I have another question that came in. It's a big one. I love this one. The older crowd, the one that Freddie mentioned, which
is 80% of the people on our call here. Yeah. Thanks, Freddie.
I don't know what the heck he was thinking, saying anything
50?
in the 50s.
Come on.
What? I mean, that's insulting. Anyway, so the older crowd, and this is true, those are the ones that write the bigger checks, by the way, in my understanding, is it says begs the question of how you help them get comfortable online. So I'd love for one of you guys to talk about what is it that we're going to try to do to get to, and Darren, maybe you address this first. How are we getting to our older crowd? How are we getting to in front of them on the television screen, on a computer screen, on Facebook? What's that? What's the how?
Yeah, that's a big question, and unfortunately, I don't have a perfect answer. But if my mom ever watches these, I'm going to be in serious trouble, because I always use her as my example. You know, I'm not going to get on Zoom. I'm not going to use PayPal. Now she can teach us how to do it. Because she actually did. She's on Zoom and teaching her friends how to do it. But make it easy. I think that's kind of the biggest piece. Stop trying. I mean, I get that, you know, there's Zoom is an easy platform. I watched an event last night on Zoom and it streamed. It was great. But when you have Zoom and then you have to get somebody to watch it on a computer, now they have to download an app on their phone to donate. That's challenging. If you're making them download an app plus being on the computer, I talked to a friend of mine in Boston this morning. They're hosting their entire event on Zoom and doing everything in the chat bar. There is no online bidding. There is no app to download. They are trying to make it extremely easy. I don't know the results of that. I won't know till tomorrow morning, but I'll probably watch tonight. We'll see how that goes, because just giving people the ability to put something in like we did in our Zoom meeting with your chat is huge and easy. It's easy. If we can get on Zoom, we can figure out the chat bar. But,
love it. Good one.
Freddie, I mean, you guys, you ran that banner across the bottom. Give somebody a number to call. Again, if that's the generation we're kind of looking at, if they can call us and talk to somebody they know, whether it's the executive director, or maybe it's 4 or 5 board members that are answering the phone. You can do that so easily through Google Voice. You buy one number on Google Voice. You can send that out to 8 cell phones, you know, at the same time, so people answer. Give them the script to what to say, but they're just there to answer questions and people know them and trust them. That's huge. And I know, Michelle, we're down to 4 minutes. So we got to wrap this and land this plane really quick.
Yeah, so here we go. So we have another good question. Darren, maybe this is for you for the Oak Grove one that you just did. What was the most successful part of the event from a fundraising standpoint? Tell us about the money.
Yeah, new viewers, new supporters. You know, when it was shared, like Michelle said, you know, we had 50 to 60 people. I think maybe our high was even 73 day of, but they had over 1,500 views kind of going on. There's some new people that never even heard of Oak Grove Center and didn't realize what they did. So that was kind of a big win for that. Now it's on our client to reach out and do the stewardship piece, which Michelle and I always talk about. The event's not over at 1 o'clock when that one ended. We did that at lunchtime. You know, all the work comes from that point going forward to steward them, to get them back in the box for next year.
Right, and I think they meant like financially, which section of the program? So do you think it was the paddle raise where you're asking people, or was it sponsorship, or what's the biggest cash? What made
the biggest part of that was the appeal. And the reason for that is we didn't do a live auction. We didn't sell anything. We had a few items online that we put up there. We've had like 12 or 15 online items, but I didn't do the online auction like you saw Freddie do earlier. You know, he was selling items. We didn't do that.
Okay, next question. Here we go. There's so many good ones. I don't want to miss it. What did the what did the AV experts think is a minimum service for internet or broadcast? That's one part of it. Does anyone know, and do you think YouTube or Twitch are the better platform for streaming to the non-pros?
Yeah, that's over my pay grade. Jeremy,
great questions. Yeah, YouTube is probably a great platform for your general demographic. Twitch tends to be a platform that is reserved for gamers and high-end esports or entertainment that way. They're a little bit different. They're both great platforms. They're both easy to learn. YouTube has a lot of great resources such as free music, free videos, free tutorials, all of that stuff that you can do.
Awesome.
And minimum bandwidth, it really depends on how many live people you're having to come in. If it's just you and a local camera and you're serving up, 30 up, 30 down should get you started, no problem. But if you're going to have remote callers in, start doing the math. You're probably looking at 80 up, 80 down just to get started.
Very good. Awesome. And let's see. I see, Michael, that you've been answering questions in here too, which is awesome. I've heard you would need 100 to 1,000 subscribers to your YouTube channel in order to stream live. How would we get that amount of followers? Is this true? And what are others' experience with this? This is from Renee Smith.
All right, go ahead.
Go ahead. You're more qualified to answer that question. I just had my version of it.
To be quite honest, I haven't heard that, and I guess probably because when we've used it, we haven't had to worry about that. You know what? I can confirm that that's not true. We've done it for 2 viewers. Yeah, we've done it for like 2 viewers. We've used OBS and streamed to YouTube for events when we were still doing things on property, and we needed to get the feed up to an overflow room.
Okay.
So we streamed to 1 viewer, which was a laptop, and put that on a projector in a room upstairs and for 200 people to watch. So I can confirm you do not need 100 people to stream that.
Yeah. Awesome. And I was going to say that.
So
if you have a Facebook Live, and Darren, you can speak to this, but if you have, I'm sorry, not Facebook, if you have a YouTube channel, then you can go live, right, Darren?
You can go live, but there's administrative rights that you have to make sure you have. Just because your organization has a YouTube channel or a Facebook channel, you have to have the access to log in, because you have to request a license to a streaming license. Guys like Michael, that's what he needs to be able to broadcast. So just because you have it, don't think you're going to use it until you find out the password. Wow, Michelle, this can go on for hours, but here we are at 1 o'clock.
I know, I love it.
Hot seat and call this over.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up. So guys, if I didn't get to your question, don't worry. Michael's been frantically answering questions. This is awesome. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the chat log together. We'll send it out to you all with a link to the video of today's presentation. That way, if you need to convince a board member, convince some staff, you will have something to show them. Say, see, this is how it's done, right? And if you're interested in joining Darren and I in the hot seat, we've been hosting these and they're a lot of fun. We go for about 20 to 30 minutes on Facebook Live. It's going to be next Friday at noon. And we're going to do a drawing for who wants to be in the hot seat with us. So we're going to take your event, pick it apart, plan it, give you a show flow, the whole thing.
We cannot plan an event in 20 minutes. I mean, we're really good, but I don't think we're going to need more than 20 minutes. I'm just saying.
And the link to register for that is in the chat. So it's called Hot Seat Link. So go ahead and register. It's just a quick click. And Darren, what am I forgetting to say?
That's really it. I mean, if you have an opportunity, if you want some help, Michelle and I are here to help. If you don't have a large committee, this is what Michelle and I do. We work with partners like Michael and Jeremy. We can come to you. We can do it all virtually. We are here to help and be your advocates and make it easy for you.
And let me give a little pitch to Darren. He's been doing a lot of these, and he's great at auctioneering, as you all know, but also he's a pretty good host too. And gents, Michael and Jeremy, if you guys could put your contact information. I have had a lot of people in the chat ask, how much does it cost to have a full production company do it? I think it's probably best if you give them a quote as it pertains to theirs, because there's so many different scenarios. So we could talk price all day, but if you guys would put your contact info in there so they could reach out to you, we'll make sure that they get it after today too.
And the best part about this, you've signed up, you've registered. We'll have a recording on our Facebook page. It's Eventology Fundraising. It's /continue the conversation. Join us there. We're going to answer some more questions there as they come in, and you'll get information. You'll get the hot seat information as well. You know, when we do pick a winner, that'll be posted on there. Please join us. Thank you a lot. We really appreciate you guys, logging on and sharing your lunch with us. Please, any questions, give Michelle or I a call. Any of the resources, Freddie up in Sacramento. Freddie, thank you so much for sharing your video clips. My friend Jay Cash, Nelson J, Scott Robertson. I've got a few other auctioneers, Jim Nye, Suzanne, I see you on here, Suzanne Martin. Thanks for waving. Thank you guys all for joining us. And hire an auctioneer, hire some help. We're here to help, but you can do it. Don't be afraid of them. We can help.